happy to be with you.
Hello, ma'am. Hello. Welcome.
Okay. 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 Well, thank you very much. And I'm very honored to be here with all of you. Warm greetings to everyone. You know, for me, educators are the most esteemed people in the world. And so it's always a pleasure and always an honor to be with people like you. So I'll ask the good doctor if he would share the screen. So I share my slideshow. I'm having some technical difficulties. You know, what I'd like to say is that, we all know that learning only happens when the learner is very actively engaged. So everything we do today, I hope that you will attempt to answer the questions, even if you don't speak out loud, answer them in your mind, and maybe answer them on a piece of paper at your desk. I will also be sharing with you, I'll give the good doctor, I'll give him a template that to give to each of you so that you can do this activity in your own school, because we'll only learn best when we are actively doing something. So yes, if you would please go to the next slide. I hope the slideshow is working okay. Okay, sure, it takes time, I understand. So as the slide is going, I'll go ahead and speak. You know, think about what emergency drills your school does. So probably your school has fire drills. Your school probably has other emergency drills. So depending on the location of your school, perhaps you have drills for flooding, you have drills for other types of emergencies that are key that could happen in your location. So think about, just answer in your mind, how often does your school practice the drill? How often do you do the drills in your school? Are the drills announced? That's one question. So do you know ahead of time a drill is coming? Are the drills unannounced, so you have a surprise, right? Or and also, most importantly, after you've done the drill, I think if it's okay to say, we're getting a lot of happy noise in the background from children, which is always wonderful. But maybe we'll hear better if everybody mutes their microphone. Um, so most importantly, after your school has done a drill, do you come together and do you have a conversation about how to know, it's very difficult to know how anyone is going to react. Sir, maybe I'll try one more time to share my screen. Should I try to share the slideshow? Sir, should I try to share the slideshow?
Yes, we are seeing.
Okay, I will try. Okay, let's see whether do you see the slideshow? Okay. But it was not the slideshow, correct? This is what I'm trying to do. No, it says I don't have permission to share it. Yes, it's telling me my computer does not have permission. So I think I have to, I think it's because.
Yes.
Okay. Settings. Okay, it's unfortunate. So is there a way I can share the slideshow in the chat? Maybe people can have the slideshow to look at, to watch? Is there a chat for Google Meet where I could give the slideshow? Oh, I see you're downloading it. That's very good. Okay. Yes, doctor. Perfect. Okay, good, good. Thank you. Please come down to the next slide. Good. Okay, so this is the objective today is that I'm going to show you how to do a tabletop exercise. And then I'm going to give you your own template to create a tabletop exercise for your school. So just to explain what a tabletop exercise is, it's different from a drill. So for example, if you did a tabletop exercise of a fire drill, you would not actually practice a fire drill. You would have your leadership team and some teachers, and you would be around a table. And bit by bit, you would release more information and you would come up with responses. Because when an emergency happens, it's never it never goes the way you think it will, right? And those of you who have been through an emergency situation at your school, it's quite unpredictable. So you have to make decisions. You have to make decisions quickly, and you have to make decisions in a calm way. And then sometimes you get new information that changes everything. So this is the point of today's activity, is that you practice something with your leadership team at your school, or with with any of your teammates at your school. And this will increase the likelihood that people will be calm during an emergency, and you won't have next slide. Thank you. Okay, so here are the objectives. So I'll give you a minute to think about these 4 things, and then we'll do the activity. And then, as I said, I will give you your own template so you can create something like this for your own school using your own unique situation. Remember, the objective is to make sure that more people will be calm and able to react reasonably if you have an emergency in your school. Okay, sir, please go to the next slide. Okay, so this is, you plan a scenario, and I have planned a scenario for this group, something that can happen in any school. And it gives us a way, instead of just having the drill where everybody go outside. Okay, that's usually what we do with fire drills. We have a place, we have a sound, you hear the fire drill, everyone goes to a certain location. And that's not always the kind of emergency that you will have. So this engages, if you do this activity in your school, it will take 45 minutes to an hour. So you want to schedule a time. This one does not involve children. This one you will practice with a team, teachers, maybe certainly some teachers, leadership team members, maybe the person who has to communicate with parents about the safety of their children. So let's go to the next slide and you'll understand a bit better. Okay, so this is, imagine this scenario that your school is a suburban elementary school and you have 600 students, and we're going to say in India is such an enormous country that, you could say some areas of India are highly developed and highly modern and other parts are still developing. So I have this in a developed, in a developed area. But in your mind, you'll put it in your location. If you're in a rural location, if you're in the city, if you're in the suburban. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so here we go. This is the scenario. And when you do this with your school, okay, you will create a scenario. We have to make decisions as leaders in a school. When an emergency happens, we never have all of the information. That's just not life, right? You never have all of the information. You have to make a decision. Bam, you have to make decisions based on the information you have. And this helps to increase the likelihood. Practicing these activities helps increase the likelihood that you will be calm, that everyone will make reasonable decisions without panic. So let's imagine if you do this with your school, with your team, you will take about 10 minutes on each slide. We're going to take 1 minute because we have limited time. But the initial impact, this is the first thing that happens, is that a teacher smells natural gas. A dangerous situation. She smells it, she reports it to the main office. Nobody knows where the gas is coming from. She has seen workers from the window. She sees workers outside. Maybe they're doing some work and they hit the gas line. Now, everybody has to make a decision right now, very quickly. And is it the right decision to take the children outside, close to the gas line? Is it, the fire drill might not be what do you do? So if you do this activity at your school, you only put this information. You cannot give the entire slideshow because, that's not the way that real life emergencies unfold. You just get a little information and you have to make a decision. Okay, yes, sir, good, thank you. You move to the next slide. So then after you discuss that and you make decisions, so let's say that your group in the tabletop, let's say that your group makes a decision that you're going to relocate. Imagine, you could make any decision, but that you're going to get buses and you're just going to remove the children from the environment. Okay, so 15 minutes after the emergency has unfolded, the gas, as you smell the gas, the emergency continues to unfold. And the decision is made to evacuate the children from school in a bus, and you have a location site already. You've contacted someone to make the donation, to make the relocation. But the person on the phone doesn't know what to do either. Now, with your committee, You talk for 5 minutes about, okay, what do we do? What do we do about relocating these children? What do we do? So your team at the table will have this discussion and you'll make a decision. What do we do? But remember, this is giving the leaders in your school, this is giving them some practice. This is giving practice in what to do so that when a real emergency happens, that's not their first practice. That's not, that's not a good time to be learning something for the first time, right? So this is giving practice in this flexible thinking, making decisions, staying calm. Okay. Please, sir, the next slide. Thank you. Okay. After half an hour, so this is 15 more minutes and the situation is still unfolding. You're still not clear what has happened. You have a different site because the first relocation site could not accommodate you. And you call the second one now. It's urgent. You have to get these children off of the campus, away from the gas. You don't know what's happening. Okay. And it's a high school, a secondary school. And they agree they will accommodate the children, but it's too far to walk. So you decide to get transportation. And while you have the children outside trying to get them to safety, a bee stings a child and the child starts to go into anaphylaxis. So now you have a life-threatening situation. So think about it a minute. Isn't this really how it happens in your school? It's never straight. It's never clear. Some emergency, something you never anticipated happens. That's, that's the nature of these things. So again, when you do this activity at your school, everyone at the table talks about it calmly and you make a decision. Okay. Thank you for the thumbs up. That's very encouraging. I appreciate it. Okay. The next slide, please, sir. Okay. After 45 minutes, okay, you've got someone from the fire department. Finally, you've been trying to contact the fire department for 45 minutes to understand what's happening. And someone from the fire department finally tells you that, yes, there are elevated levels of natural gas around your school. And it was an accident that the electric company made while digging in that area. No one informed you, which is, that's a really bad thing because you should have that communication, right? They should communicate. There is a school there with children and the electric company should have told you that this was happening and there was a possibility of danger, but they didn't. So they left you at a disadvantage. Again, this is how things happen in the world, right? You expect systems to work. You expect communication to work. It doesn't always happen. And then you have to decide what's the best thing to do to ensure that the children are safe. So you decide, you have the police department come to help you get the children to the next location in vehicles and buses. You have also taken the other child. You have someone taking the other child to the hospital, the one with the bee sting, and you just decide to announce to parents, school is closed for the rest of the day. And you so this is so again, the team at your school who's doing this activity, they might make different decisions. These might not be the decisions they make, right? I'm not telling you these are the best decisions. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just engaging your school in talking about what do we do when this happens. But you, as the leader of this activity, you have to keep putting in surprises for them, right? So that they have to keep thinking on their feet as they practice these scenarios. Okay, now, please, for the next slide. Okay. So the decision that your team has made, the decision that your team has made is that you have to keep track of children. You cannot lose a child while you're going from one location to another, but it's a very fast decision. So you decide that you announce to parents that no one can pick up their child yet. You have to get the children to the high school, account for everybody. If parents start to pick up their children just like that, you can lose a child because if a child is missing, you just assume the parent took the child. So you make this decision that parents cannot come and pick up their children yet, that they will pick up their children at the high school. Sir, yes? Does someone have a question?
It's not a question, ma'am. They are just, they have to mute.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for explaining. Okay. Okay. So, but you have a parent who does exactly what we're trying to avoid, which is panic. Panic. Where's my child? Where's my child? Did my child breathe too much gas? And the parent goes onto the bus. Could everyone mute, please? Thank you. Thank you. Please. Okay. Thank you. So a parent comes on the bus and the parent is not listening to your instructions, and this is the parent is looking for her son. She can't find her son, and this becomes a real challenge. This becomes.
Excuse me, ma'am. One
Yes.
second. Sir, could you mute that person's? Yeah. Okay. 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 Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. And thank you, sir. So, you know, and we know this happens. I mean, parents panic and they get afraid. And sometimes the parent is not going to follow the rules. So you have this situation now happens. A parent comes, you're trying to prevent this, and the parent starts to panic on the bus. Okay. And so you know that you have some difficulties now in making sure that everybody does the right thing. It's a very, very real situation that can happen in our schools, because it doesn't, you know, we make decisions when we are planning drills, for example, and we say, okay, if this emergency happens, these are the rules we will follow. This is the procedure. This is the plan. But in reality, plans never go in a straight line. Things always happen to throw you in a different direction. That's why it's important to practice these tabletop exercises, so that you have some experience and some practice in your mind, you know, making decisions quickly when things don't go according to plan. Okay, please, sir, to the next slide. Okay, so what you would do then with your group at your school is that you would then sit down for another 15 minutes. So again, this activity should take you 45 minutes to 1 hour with your team. So you set aside a time, a special meeting time to do this. And you start planning and you say, okay, what did we learn from this activity? What can we change? What can we put in place? How would we recover from this activity as a school? Okay, so now what I would like to ask you to do, I'm going to send Sir, I'm going to send him in LinkedIn, sir, I will send you a template that I ask you to give to everyone. You can give them this one, it's okay. But I created one that you use. So right now, I want you, before we have only 5 more minutes, but in your mind, I want you to begin thinking of an emergency, not the same one, not a gas line, an emergency that might happen in your school. Think about your school and your particular location. What kind of emergencies might happen? So I need to send Sir this this template. Okay, just give me one minute. Again, I don't know. I'm having a little bit of. Not a lot of difficulties, but just a little bit. But I want to make sure that everyone receives this, because this is yours to take away. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll share it with you in two formats. I'll share it with you in both a PDF and let's see, a PDF and a slideshow version. But I hope to get it to you right now.
I will share
sorry, it's giving me a little bit of difficulty. So what yes, I want to make sure that everyone can do this. So hopefully right now, I hope you're thinking about, let's see, I want to say this is, I hope you're thinking about an activity in your, an emergency that might happen in your school, and think about how how you can consider the unexpected twists and turns that might happen at your school. The things that maybe everyone is outside and you end up with I don't know, heavy rain or something. Sir, I just sent it to you, so I hope you can share it with everyone else. And I will also, let me do a PDF just in case, because some people might not be able to open it. But this is for you. You will take everything in this one and you will create your own scenario. So just to be sure everyone understands, and you will spend maybe 45 minutes or an hour with your team at your school doing this exercise. And it should be, hopefully it will be very beneficial to you. So let me, okay, sir, I sent it to you in two formats. You have a PDF and you have a PowerPoint format. And so I ask you to please share with everyone on this slide so that they have, because as I said, you only learn from doing, right? You never learn from a lecture. We only learn when we are actively engaged and we are doing. So this is something for you to do. My goal in this is to support educators around the world. And ultimately, my goal is to make the world safer for your students, for all children. So, sir, I thank you for having me today. And I thank you for introducing me to this wonderful group of educators. It's an honor.
Thank you, Kelly ma'am.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for being here, and be sure to contact Sir Betkar if you don't have the materials, because it's so good to share information, and the materials are ready for you. I made them for you to use, so you don't have to start from the beginning.
I will share with all participants.
Thank you.
Now, Swanand Shukla, sir, please.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, Dr. Sir. Good morning, ma'am, Kelly, ma'am. Wonderful presentation, and really very much required. Everyone should have this knowledge with them, because when the things happens, some emergency appears, I think, there is no time to think also. So we have to react, that is how we have to proceed for. So if we have to be preparedness, that is the right word for this, preparedness.
Yes.
So we should, in schools and colleges and universities, we should have the training, how we will react to such a situations. Because there is no perfect protocol for this, everything will be go with that kind of protocol only, it will not happen like this. But at least, how we can save the life and how we can save the, the life of others. So that is also very important. So disasters, usually we are coming across like earthquake and then flood, and nowadays you'll find there is a threat of wars and the nuclear wars, and how to react with such a kind of situation and scenarios, it becomes such a wonderful thing. And everyone should think about this, how to react. Nowadays, in India, you'll find near about 30% people are living in urban life, and near about 70% people are living the rural life. So what they will do over there, we have, I think the lesson we have received, it is only because of the, what we can say, the disaster has taken place over here. So Kelari and then Bhuj and, earthquake, these are very important examples, and where we learned a lot. The preparedness was not there too much, and the houses were not of, great concrete houses, and they were not resistant to the earthquake, and naturally number of casualties has taken place is a very huge. So we are not just talking about one emergency, if suppose someone is getting some anaphylactic shock or unconscious, but I think we have to get prepared for this also. So what kind of threat you can see, what kind of emergencies you can say in future that it may take place there, the otherwise, whatever the things we are knowing, these are there, but what you think in future, that we have to get prepared for. So that will become, because many of the time people are not knowing the signage. Many of the time people are not knowing, in the case of fire, what kind of wall we have to press and how to press, what kind of, we are using for fire extinguishers. So what kind of fire extinguishers, A, B, C, D, that is a universal, we have to use them. So very important. So what do you think and what you see in future, what kind of threats are there, and we have to be ready for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's, a lot of, a lot of wisdom in what you've said there. I think that, we have to look at, so if I do teach a course about this at the graduate level, the master's degree level. And in this course, to answer your question, in this course, what we do, I engage all of the participants in doing a risk assessment activity for their own region. So, you take a spreadsheet, and yes, disaster management. So you take a spreadsheet when you do the risk assessment, and you look at the history of your area. What are the most likely events? I mean, you are not going to prepare for a sandstorm if you live in, in the Philippines. You're not going to prepare for a sandstorm, of course, but you better prepare for a sandstorm if you live in Egypt. So, the key for me, sir, is that, we use the words react, and yes, we have to react, but doing these activities helps you be able to respond, if that makes sense, because, we react, but responding is more deliberate, more mindful, so this takes us, whatever the emergency is, it engages us in considering the possible emergencies for our situation, and planning out scenarios in our mind to help us respond. I think many regions of the world that were peaceful for a long time now have to worry about the possibility of war, for example. So I think, very sadly, I think that's something that, sadly, we all have to be prepared for, is that possibility. I know originally I'm from the United States, even though I live in Guyana, and in the United States, we have to think about guns. We have to think about shooters, and not only shooters that might come into a school and do harm, but gunfire breaking out on the street, and maybe we have to get our children to take cover because bullets can come through the windows. So I think it's in a lot of ways it's unique to where you live. I think in countries that in the United States, we are a new country, so to speak. Our country is only centuries old, whereas in other parts of the world, the civilization has been there for thousands of years. And in those places, sometimes you have buildings that are very old, that so you have to consider things like, could this building collapse? Could what can happen here? So mudslides in South America, mudslides are are very serious, and with the changing weather patterns, they are less predictable, and we do have rising oceans on the coast of South America, and so flooding. So it's difficult to predict, but I think a risk assessment for your location is very important. But thank you for your wise comments.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. We have to now think of satellite wars and the radiation war, and then we have to think about the natural calamities, like, how we are going to get exposure to some sunstorms and something happening in the universe also, and that is, the gamma rays may hit. If we are disturbing our atmosphere, and maybe that rays can come to our earth, and how to react then. So we have to think a lot about that, and we have to be prepared. We of course we with the we should pray to the God it should not happen, but we have to be prepared. To for our existence we have to fight. Yeah, thank you very much.
I agree very much. Yes, and also as you mentioned, space. Now there's an issue with space debris. Garbage that we humans have put into space, so we have different issues that never occurred to us.
Yeah, if the gravitational force is disturbed somewhere, you'll find those satellites are going to collapse on the Earth. They are moving all around us. We have created a great threat for Earth also. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Otherwise, yeah, your presentation was wonderful. Really, we started, it evoked the thinking process, and that is how I can ask questions. Thank you very much.
Oh, good. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Very kind. Thank you.
Rahul Chavan, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello, madam. May I ask questions?
Of course, please.
Acha. The culture between America and England is different.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you secure the lives of the children there? How do you save their future?
Well, that is a very how do we save their future? That's a huge question. And I think that there's not one simple answer to that. Obviously, you wouldn't ask the question if there was a simple answer. But I think, as I said to Dr. Shukla, that we have to engage in risk assessment. And we have to think about and we have to consider very carefully. And so when I do a risk assessment, I consider the possible catastrophes and I rank them. I give them a weight. I give them a score. So let's say an emergency that is not going to be very serious, that's not going to cause death. Let's say the internet goes out. It's going to cause a problem for the mission continuity of the school because we depend on it, but the risk to safety is low. So I would give that a low score. But what about an event like a major earthquake? I'm going to give that a very high score. But then in the next column, what I do is I think about the likelihood this can happen in my school, in my neighborhood, my town, and then I multiply them. Okay, so for example, if I have, if the likelihood of a flood is high, let's say likelihood of a flood is 5 out of 5 because of where I live, and the likelihood that a flood will cause loss of life is maybe a 3 in the middle, then I give that a score of 15. And I go through that with everything, okay, with all of the possibilities. And then that gives us a score, a numerical score. So we know what is the biggest threat. And so that helps us prioritize. So I hope this answers a little bit. I don't think there's one answer for that covers every location. But for your location, if you engage, if you sit down and you think about, I mean, let's imagine we all practice at our schools. I know when I was a child in the United States, for example, every school practiced 2 drills: fire drill, okay, that can happen anywhere, and tornado drill. All of us practice a tornado drill. My state, North Carolina, almost never had a tornado. Almost never happened. So what we could have spent our time practicing something that was more likely, like a flood, right? We never practiced that. So I would say, I don't have an easy answer to that question. Your very good question. But when you're thinking about preserving the future, you want to make sure that you're thinking about what could happen. And then the next level, after you've done these activities with your staff, then you start doing some activities, perhaps virtually, where you involve parents, and so that it comes down to children, because children also, depending on the age, they need to also develop those skills of being able to respond instead of react when something happens. We tell children, for example, we tell children to be afraid of strangers, to be cautious with strangers. Well, do we ever sit with children and do a tabletop exercise? Do we sit and say, okay, you and your friend, let's imagine you and your friend are playing, you're kicking the soccer ball on the sidewalk and you're playing. And a man comes to you and says, can I play with you? What do you do? And then maybe the children answer, oh, yes, we want to be kind. So we say, yes, you can play. So, okay. And then and you have them think of answers. Okay, well, the man is very nice and he says, I'm going to buy you a Coca-Cola. And you keep going. And so then you're getting children and you do these. We don't want to scare children too much, okay? We don't want to give them bad dreams, but we want to give them in a gentle way. We want to give them some practice in making these decisions and thinking. And then, if they're in a bad situation, really, what do they do? What do you do to say? So I just, anything we can do to practice to help save children's lives if, God forbid, an emergency or a dangerous situation presents itself in their lives.
Thank you, Jair Singh जी वजन।
Thank you.
जी सभी को नमस्कार। सर, मेरा सवाल ये है, जो प्रैक्टिस स्कूल इमरजेंसी की बात हो रही है, क्या धर्म की भूमिका क्या रहती है इसमें, और क्या धर्म इसमें अड़चन बनता है?
Well, as the old saying says, prevention is the most important thing, but we cannot prevent every single thing. And this is the reason why I encourage people to practice these scenarios. As I said, you don't want to give children nightmares or psychological damage. So, we don't want to tell them too much. But we want to tell them enough so that they're practicing. And for me, that is the way, that's the way to keep them safe, is to put your mechanisms, safety mechanisms in place. The doctor mentioned fire extinguishers, for example. But how many times does a fire break out and no one knows how to use the extinguisher? How many times does the fire break out and the extinguisher doesn't work because we forgot to check it? So, my short answer to that very good question is that we protect children and save them by thinking constantly about what might happen and doing our best to mitigate these situations ahead of time, and also by having children also practice. And again, don't frighten them. Don't give them a scenario where they think they might die, because that's too much for children. But engage them in practicing what to do when an emergency happens and how to respond instead of react.
Is it, madam, disaster management prevention, how to get rid of the disaster when it comes? And in India, we have a disaster management subject at UG undergraduation level and also at school level. They're being trained now in case of any disaster. It is a natural calamity or is it something happens, how to get rid of this. I think that's really good to have for right from schooling.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. I agree with you 100%. So I think if the people in this session, if you yourselves don't want to create the tabletop exercise and you want to engage one of those experts from the university or someone who's doing the course, maybe they can help you do that. So I present this to you to think about, and as I said, to just to use the materials in the way that best fits your own situation, your own environment. And of course, your students are going to have different capacity depending on their age. If you're working in a nursery school, this is going to be a bigger challenge than if you're working in a high school. But just remember that human beings respond in unexpected ways when a real crisis happens. They respond in very unexpected ways. Some people will respond very clearly, level-headedly, and make wise decisions. Others will freeze, others will panic. So when you practice this activity, I know I'm repeating myself, forgive me, but when you practice these activities, the purpose is to get people used to the idea so that if, God forbid, an emergency happens, then a greater percentage of your people in your environment, your community, will be able to respond instead of freezing or panicking. So.
Thank you, Dr. Badruddin sir. Anyone?
Well, I would like. Okay, please. Yes. Okay. Well, I wish all of you every safety, every blessing in your school. Always. I hope you never have an emergency. But this is what I always said to my children when they were young, is that when we go in the vehicle, we put on the safety belt. Every time we go in the vehicle, we put on the safety belt. And we pray that we never need the safety belt. But it's much better to wear a safety belt and you never need it than to not wear your safety belt and you need it desperately. So I pray that you will never have an emergency in your school, but let's prepare for emergencies nonetheless. This is our safety belt. So.
Thank you, madam, for your guidance. I request Tandre sir, Pramod Tandre sir.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
I'm here to express my gratitude about today's international conference, about our keynote speaker, Kelly ma'am. It is very informative sessions to all of us. And I have a guarantee that today everyone get something in their bag for your to getting your lecture regarding the emergency. In that emergency, someone discussed about that you told that the teacher education, and in the teacher education syllabus, they also learn about the school emergency, about the school management. In India also, ma'am, we have the school management subject for each and every teacher who are going to learn about the teacher education, about the role of the teacher, about the disaster management, how to plan, how to build the school, how to get prepare a plan about school. But many times in the reality, many peoples and many contractors are not following that. And that's why the disaster is making worse in India also. There is many incidents in India that happen in the schools previously also. So it is about awareness about the people and teachers and the government also. And in the last 3 years, our Indian government also make a manual for the safety and security of children in schools in 2021. But that is not a reach to that people, to that teachers, and they did not read regarding it, and they did not follow the instructions about it. So it will be happen, and it is a very sad thing to us. But we, as a teacher faculty, we have to share this kind of information. As you say, the importance of the drill. Each and everyone must know the importance of the drill of emergency, and it is compulsory to the every school to take that kind of drill for their childrens, for the safety of their childrens. And it will be very informative, and it will be a very thoughtful lecture from your side. And as a organizer, I will express my thanks and my gratitude towards you and Bedkar sir. Also, he gives an as an opportunity to hear you about this kind of topic, because on the safety topic, on the emergency topic about the school, there is not much and more lectures found in the YouTube. Also, I'm just searching before your lecture that what about the school, what about the emergency, in the general emergency. There are many things, many topics, many discussion regarding it in the safety about the schools and the school practicing about the emergency. That is not such a regular practice in the India and about in the abroad also. So we have to make awareness, create an awareness. Today we also ask our students to join. We are running the B.Ed teacher education course. I am the principal of the B.Ed college. That is a bachelor course for the teachers for the secondary schools. And we also ask our students to join and hear about the emergency, because they are becoming a teacher. Within 2-3 months, they get their final examinations and they get that degree for the teacher. We ask them to join and hear about emergency, because they learn theoretically, as you say, they learn theoretically, but they did not practice it, and that is a difficulty to them. And for that reason, we ask them to join that kind of sessions, about the teachers and about the schools. Must know the schools. So I will express my gratitude and thanks towards you and the Bedkar sir also for giving us that kind of such a huge and great opportunity to us. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, and thank you. And I really applaud your efforts there. You said the word practice many times. I have no doubt that the government of India has created wonderful models for emergencies. I have no doubts about the education system for training teachers about emergencies. I think my message is not for India, it's for the whole world, is practice it, because we learn something. You know, I learned many things. I'm an old woman, right? And I learned a lot of things when I was in high school, but I don't practice them. So I'm not good at them anymore. I have to think about it. So the more we practice, the better we will be able to respond during these situations. So I definitely applaud you for engaging students and doing these practice activities. Wonderful. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir. I am here, sir. Hello. Good evening, everyone, and good morning, ma'am.
Hello.
It's very nice to hear you, ma'am. We have the subject disaster management, environment education and disaster management, but our students are not getting the practice. Today you taught them very nicely. Your presentation was very nice, ma'am. And your words were also very worthful. You told that preparedness, tabletop exercises, and I always follow that practice makes man perfect. That you are teaching that thing only. And so one thing I want to just share, that just as we hear, we forgot. As we read, we remember. But what we do, we never forget. That only you told us and you explained it very nicely. I present my vote of thanks to Bedkar sir also, to you ma'am also. They gave us opportunity and a wonderful session was happened. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is this the season of Holi? Are you celebrating Holi?
Yes, ma'am. Happy Holi to all.
Happy Holi. In Guyana, we celebrate Holi also. And we call it Pagua in Guyana. And so it's a very lovely, wonderful time. And I think you've come to learn something on your holiday. And so that really demonstrates how dedicated all of you are and how much you care about your students and just care about being the most professional educators you can possibly be. So I wish you all of the color and joy and freshness of Holi, and I thank you for coming on your holiday to learn something that's very special.
Yes, yes. Most welcome, ma'am. Most welcome.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello, ma'am. Kelly, ma'am. Your session was a very nice one. And as being an assistant professor, I would like to express my gratitude towards you that your session, whatever the message you has given to, it was not only related to the India, but it was related to the whole world. So I would like to appreciate your global vision, whatever the things you has expressed in your today's session about the students and what we have to do as teachers. So as ma'am say, disaster management, yes, we are implementing the same thing in our syllabus also. Government of India has taken so many initiatives, anti-ragging, somewhat Vishaka. So many programs we are implementing and practicing. That was the most important message. So we will keep practicing and wish you a very happy Holi. You are most welcome in India. I think we will learn a lot of things from you, and you too will learn a lot of things from India, because our Indian culture is very nice, and we consider our teachers as a guru and students as our son or daughter. So definitely we will reach the message to them. Keep learning and keep practicing. Thank you very much to you, ma'am, and also a nice session to Mr. Dr. Bedkar, sir. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. I do hope to visit India. So in Guyana, where I live, I don't know if you know about Guyana, but more than 50% of the population of Guyana is from India or their grandparents. So it's Indian descent. So we observe all of the Indian holidays and the Indian food. It's wonderful.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, definitely.
Okay. Okay. Well, I do need to go now, but I have had such a wonderful time with you, and I thank Doctor for inviting me. At first, I was confused. I thought he was inviting me to India, and I said, "Oh, I can't come. I'm far away." He said, "No, you can come virtually." So, thank you, Doctor, and I'm very happy to meet this group of educators. It's been a very good hour for me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Someone is asking for the PowerPoint, sir. Oh, sorry. Sir, someone is asking for the PowerPoint. And it's perfectly okay with me for you to share all three. So the PowerPoint for this presentation, the PowerPoint I created for participants, and the PDF. Sure, please share. That's perfectly okay. So thank you. Okay, good. Good. Thank you, everyone. Happy Holi.
Happy Holi, ma'am.
Bye.
Happy Holi, ma'am.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Happy Holi, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And wish you a very happy Holi.
हैप्पी सर, ये इस तरह से हैप्पी होली आपके बजाय तो पता है।